When will death happen? And where will it happen? This is a question that almost everyone has in their mind sometimes. Death is always around us, and we cannot escape it. Many people lose their lives even while watching this video. The bodies of some are buried, and the bodies of others are found in strange places. Carl Tanzler, a highly skilled radiologist born in Germany. He moved to America and interacted with many tuberculosis patients throughout her career. But one of the patients was different. When Maria Hoyos came to Carl for treatment, Carl suddenly recognized him. Carl had a dream when he was a child, and in this dream, a dead relative showed him the love of his life, and Maria fit the description in the dream exactly. Despite Carl's best efforts, Maria died of tuberculosis in 1931, leaving Carl behind with a broken heart. Carl insisted to his family that a grave be built for Maria and that all funeral expenses be covered by him, and his family gladly accepted this offer. But it was all part of Carl's sick plan. He used a specially made key to enter the tomb after work, and often slept next to Maria's rotting body. This situation continued until the longing inside him reached a point where he could no longer bear it. One night, he brought Maria's dead body from her grave to his home without anyone noticing. Since Maria was decaying so much, he decided to come up with his own solutions and renew his body. He tied the separated bones together with piano wire and used the silk as a substitute for skin by dipping it in beeswax to remove the shrinking and melting skin and meat. When her hair fell out, she made a wig from the woman's own hair and used it. When his eyes rotted and collapsed, he replaced them with doll eyes. It took 9 years for authorities to discover what a human-sized doll with glowing skin and dull dead eyes looked like lying on Carl's bed. At the request of his family, an autopsy was performed on the body, and as a result, everything Carl did to the body was confirmed. According to some reports, Carl repaired the body because he wanted to have sexual intercourse with it. Maria's body was fixed and buried in an unmarked grave. This way, Carl would not be able to find the tomb and repeat what he had done before. More than 10 years later, Carl was found dead in his new home. Inside the house, there was a life-size puppet he had built in memory of Maria and a shrine where he worshipped Maria. Carl died in the arms of this puppet. Geneva Chambers was in her 60s when she suddenly disappeared. Her neighbors knew her as someone who would shout and scream when people entered her property, and she even kicked out the neighbor who brought her cookies. People remembered her as a grumpy woman who was quick to yell and tell them to leave. And it worked. It kept people away from him. When Geneva died at home, no one risked being scolded by asking about his condition and did not go to his house. It was thought that he had moved away because he was not seen in public. Finally, when a park worker noticed that Geneva's sliding glass door was ajar, after a brief inspection, Geneva's decomposing body, covered in cobwebs, was found in her bed. The woman was presumed dead for 3 years. Geneva got exactly what she wanted, to die alone. It was an ordinary day for Hedviga Golik. Like every day, she came home in the evening, poured herself a cup of tea, and then sat down in front of the television. That evening was Hedviga's last evening. His dead body was found exactly 42 years later. She died quietly in her chair, her hair falling on her shoulders. Nobody wondered or asked. There's only a cup of tea next to you. It's cold, it's as cold as your loneliness, and you're listening to an old television turned on to hear a voice in the late hours of life, but you can't talk. In the shadow of loneliness, no one other than the dead enters the door in the evening. You die every day, but no one cares about you. She passed away one evening while sitting in his socks in his living room in the city center, the loneliness that had entered his heart becoming more painful day by day. For 42 years, no one noticed that he had died. Even the neighbors, who were disturbed by the bad smell spreading in the apartment, did not notice. Maybe the worst thing in life is not to die alone, but to die with people around you who make you feel lonely. Loneliness feeds like a snake that comes after our childhood. As it feeds, its huge body becomes filled with noise and falsehood. It's so swollen that you're waiting for its body to crack one day. As it swells, it grows more and more. Its appetite is insatiable, and it constantly poisons it. You feel the toxin flowing through your veins, but you cannot treat it.